Assalamualaikum and a very good day to our respected lecturer Ustaz FAEZY bin ADENAN. So today we are going to present the subject of Islamic investment entitled Unit Trust. Introducing the presenter starts with MOHAMAD RAFIQ IBAD, KHAIRUL ANWAR, NABILAH binti SYAHBUDIN, ZULFAR binti ZULKIFLI, and me myself NABILAH binti TAJEI. So let's start the presentation with introduction.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NABILAH binti SYAHBUDIN. Okay, I will present about the unit trust in Malaysia. Did you know that most Malaysians do not have enough saving? In fact, the Bank Negara Malaysia has revealed that 3 out of 4 Malaysians are unable to fork out even 10,000 during emergencies. What is more daunting is that our cost of living may rise even higher in the future. However, if you have sufficient saving, you will be able to plan for your daily lives without any worries, such as pay for children's education, have a retirement fund, go to travel the world, and able to down payment for a house. So how can you save and grow money at the same time? An easy way to do that is via unit trust fund. So what are the unit trust funds? A unit trust fund is a collective investment instrument which allows investors with similar investment objective to pool their money into a fund. The fund will be invested in diversified portfolio of equities, fixed income, and permit under SC guidelines on unit trust. Okay, the particular fund will then be invested into portfolio of assets such as equity, bond, cash, and other securities. A unit trust fund typically involves 3 components or parties. First, investor or unit holder who invests in the fund. Second, a trustee which safeguards the assets of the fund. And a unit trust management company which manages and invests the pooled funds into authorized investment and portfolios. Okay, for types of unit trust, divide by 3. First, equity Islamic. Under this trust, a major portions of the fund's assets are held in the form of equities of listed companies, with 5% or more need to be in liquid assets to meet the selling needed of unit holder. A popular types of trust fund in Malaysia as it provides investor with exposure to the Malaysian equity market. Second is fixed income funds. This fund focus on generating regular income, also known as bond Islamic. The investment activities concentrate mainly on government and corporate bonds, government securities, negotiable certificate of deposit (NCD), bill, money market, and cash deposit. The risks of this fund are lower than equity Islamic. Hence, the returns are generally lower for this fund. Third is Islamic balance funds. This fund portfolio tends to consist of both shares and fixed income securities to generate a balanced return. Usually, the fund keep at least 25% to 50% of their portfolio in the form of bonds that would principally provide to regular income. Fund managers may shift the emphasis in their securities holdings. For example, if the market is declining, more funds will be placed in bonds. In bullish, more will be placed in shares. Unit trust schemes offer a variety of benefits when it comes to investing. Let's take a look at some of them. First, we will have a professional management team to help put our capital to work and monitor the investment for us. Second, low in capital or affordable. We don't need to have huge sums to invest in unit trust. We can start with as long as 1,000 ringgit for our initial investment, such as PMB investment. And yet our investment capital will be diversified, so we don't have to put all our egg into one basket. The power of the compounding refers to the snowball effect that occurs when your earnings are reinvested to generate even more return. Unit trust funds are liquid assets and there are various funds to choose from, which will cater according to different level of investor risk appetites and access to portfolios. Okay, for the research objective, we're going to talk about analysis performance every year in PNB investment and analysis risk investment. Is there risk? Well, in any form of investment, there will always be risk, but the risk carried in the unit trust will usually be lower. So the risk in this unit trust will be explained by the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zulfa binti ZULKIFLI. For the next presentation, I will show you the performance of PNB Syariah Aggressive Funds through 10, 5 and 3 years of their activities of unit trust. First of all, before we go deeper to company performance, it is better for us first to understand the meaning of analysis performance. In the big picture, we can say analysis performance lend a hand to the company director to be more focused and clarity into their works and team. Analysis performance is observing workflow, project, or other pertinent in a specific period to identify strengths and weakness. Usually, a small business owner will analyze their company financial and performance against the number in the set forecast to write up and help making a decision for the next company strategy. The performance analysis can be done in a various way, such as data collection, data transformation, and data visualization. As is generally known, PNB Investment Berhad is an Islamic Fund Management Company (IFMC), which is all unit trust fund and corporate along with institutional portfolio are now in line with Sharia compliant. Its service include unit trust and fund management. It is a wholly owned subsidiary by Pelaburan Mara Berhad, one of Malaysian original unit manufacturer with over 5 decades extensive of experience. As all can see, here is the graph of PNB Syariah Aggressive Fund from the 1st January 2011 until 31st December 2020. Generally, PNB investment under PNB Syariah Aggressive Fund meet the objective, which is to earn high capital return over the medium to long-term period. For the period over 10 years, which is 2011 until 2020, we can see the fluctuation happen in the graph. Here you can see between the lowest fund 0.314 in 26 September 2011 and the highest 0.6721 funds in 15 February 2020, and there is a large fluctuation occur. As can be seen from the graph, the volatility of the fund has changed dramatically because the lowest level reached in 10 years is still in the range of 0.3 and the highest is over 0.6 at the close of 2020. Next is the fund that show the fund's performance measure against benchmark FBM/SHA Bursa Malaysia for 5-year financial period that ended in 31st July 2020. The graph depicted the performance of the fund in comparison to its benchmark. The fund's net asset value per unit rose 16.27% over the 5 fiscal year ending in 31st July 2020. Its benchmark, on the other hand, rose by 8.61%. As we can see, over 5 years, the fund experienced a huge fluctuation. In the opening of 2015, it faces a loss of nearly a year and successful increase in the end of 2015. For the next year, the funds managed to stable its growth for 10 months and drop in the end of 2016. However, the objective of this fund is to earn high capital return in long-term periods. Hence, in 2017, the fund has grown successfully, rose rapidly for 1 year. The same situation keep happening in the next 3 years, which is, it faces a light losses in 2 years early and gain it back in 2020 as much as 25.78%.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name Muhammad RAFIQ bin Muhammad ROSLAN. Inshallah, we go to analysis risk investment. Okay, first we go to meaning analysis risk investment. Okay, the meaning of risk is possibility of something bad happening. Risk refer to uncertainty about the effect or implication of doing anything that human value, such as their health, well-being, wealth, property, or the environment. Okay, in finance terms, the risk is defined as possibility that a result or investment real gain may differ from the expected outcome or return. So, risk is generally measured quantitatively by looking at past behavior and outcomes. The standard deviation is a risk indicator commonly used in finance. So overall, knowing the fundamentals of risk and how it is quantified makes it practical and smart to control investment risk. Learning about the risks that might arise in many settings, as well as some comprehensive approaches to managing them, can assist all sorts of investors and company managers in avoiding avoidable and costly losses. So, based on the PNB Syariah Aggressive Fund, PNB SAF, the unit trust fund operations are exposed to several risks, including equity market risk, stock-specific risk, equity-related securities risk, Syariah status reclassification risk, and liquidity risk. However, financial risk management is carried out through the system of internal control and investment restriction outlined in the guidelines on unit trust fund by the Security Commission of Malaysia and based on Sharia principles. So we go to first risk is equity market risk. Market risk refer to the probability that a person or other entity would lose money as a result of variables that impact the overall performance of financial market assets. So the performance of PNB SAF is driven by stock market volatility, which is driven by changes in the economic and political atmosphere, profit rate, international stock market performance, and regulatory rules. The movement of the value in the underlying investment portfolio will affect the net asset value (NAV) of the fund. So any decrease in value will hurt the fund's NAV. So the table above show the impact on the net asset value (NAV) of the fund at the reporting date due to the possible change in equity price, which all other variables had consultants. The second risk is stock-specific risk. To an investor, the specific risk is a hazard that applies to a particular company, industry, or sector. The unsystematic risk or diversifiable risks are other terms of a specific risk. Price of individual stock in PNB SAF may change in response to event impacting individual firms, such as poor finance performance, the announcement of the proposed merger, or the departure of important individual. Any adverse price movement such as stock will adversely affect the fund's net asset value (NAV).
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is ANWAR bin MOKTAR, and today I will continue the subtopic about analysis risk investment. Okay. First, equity-related security. The underlying equity to which Sharia-compliant securities are related determine the value of Sharia-compliant equity-related securities. Any rise in the value of the underlying Sharia-compliant equities might lead to a rise in the value of Sharia-compliant equity-related securities and vice versa. As a result, the fund's value will be affected. The value of Sharia-compliant equity-related assets. The funds may also invest in Sharia-compliant equity-related securities with a set maturity period, such as Sharia-compliant warrants, which may experience time decay and value erosion as the maturity date approaches. The Sharia-compliant warrant will lose value if it is not active or before the maturity period, lowering the fund's net asset value, what we call NAV. Okay, next we go to the Sharia status classification risk. The potential of presently holding Sharia-compliant equities assets in Sharia-compliant funds portfolios getting reclassified as Sharia non-compliant during periodic security reviews by the SC, SSC, the Sharia advisor, or the Sharia supervisory boards of relevant Islamic indexes. In this occurs, the manager will proceed with the necessary step to sell the securities. The opportunity loss may occur as a result of the fund's inability to maintain excess capital gains from the sale of reclassified Sharia non-compliant securities. In this case, the fund is obligated to: first, the securities must be sold immediately or within 1 calendar month if the value of the security exceeds or equals the investment cost on the effective date of reclassification of the list of Sharia-compliant securities by the SSC of the SC, the Sharia advisor, or the Sharia supervisory boards of relevant Islamic indices. Throughout the effective date of the reclassification, the fund is authorized to retain dividends and capital gains from the sale of securities. After the date, all dividends and capital gains from the sale of non-Sharia compliant securities will be sent to the Baitul Mal and or recognized charity. 2. To hold such securities if their value is less than the investment cost on the effective date of reclassification until the total subsequent dividends received, if any, and the market price of the security equals the cost of investment, and which time disposal must occur within 1 calendar month, and capital gain, if any, from the disposal of the security should be declared. Third, to sell such securities for less than the investment cost, resulting in a loss of value for the fund. The next presenter, thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NABILAH binti TAJEI and I'm going to present my part, which is about the liquidity risk. Okay, what is liquidity risk? Liquidity risk is referring to the ease with which an asset can be liquidated about its market volume. Okay, and then if the fund has assets that are illiquid or difficult to sell, the value of the fund will be lower if it is forced to sell them at unfavorable prices. Okay, and then after consulting with the trustee, the funds maintains a sufficient level of Islamic liquid assets, which is to cover expected unit holder payments and cancellations. Right. Okay, let's see for the next slide. The table shows the fund's financial liabilities by maturity grouping, depending on the remaining period from the date of the statement of financial condition to the contractual maturity date. Okay, so we can see that these figures in the table represent the contractual cash flows that have not been discounted. Like you can see, it stated the contractual cash outflow in 2019 and 2020. Okay, so we are going to the conclusion. Alright, so the unit trust fund was established in Malaysia with the goal to provide investors with a medium to long term potential to achieve a high capital return by actively investing in Sharia compliant assets. Okay, so number one, we can see that PNB Investment Berhad is an Islamic fund management company that enables investors with common investment goals to pool their funds together. Alright, and we can see that investing in unit trust fund has its own set of advantages, which one of it is the funds are professionally managed by the assets manager, or we can say as PNB Syariah Berhad. Alright, and number 3 is PNB Investment Berhad listed the major product aspects, such as the details of the unit trust fund in which the investor would invest. Okay, so number 4 is PNB Investor Berhad also manage and invest the fund under the Islamic contract of wakalah or agency, as well as undertake investment operation on behalf of the investors for ujrah or fee, which is obviously it is accordance with the applicable Sharia requirement. However, we must keep in mind that the value of the investment and the amount of distribution to be paid might both go up and down. Okay, and last but not least, the finest investment lesson is that the earlier you start investing, the higher the total return on your initial investment will be. Okay.
That's all from us. Thank you for watching and Assalamualaikum.